Hi, today we're going to make an easy twisted ring using turquoise beads. Let's get started. Cut two wires 40 centimeters long, 16 inches, and bend them in half. I'm using aluminium wire here, but you could use silver, brass, copper, any of those wires. This is 1 millimeter thick and very nice width for this kind of jewelry. Leaving a loop, bend the twisted tails together. Not to the end, leave a little bit at the end to work with for joining and prettying up the final ring. This is an easy little ring to make. I have given the details of how I finished it with all the little loops and twists, but that is also entirely up to you. You can see the main frame of it and the loop, and then that is where the focal beads will go. So, depending on what you choose, you can twist, you can wrap, or weave a little bit. It's completely up to you how your ring turns out. There are so many different variations on how this ring can look, but you can see that I've built a top structure to the ring with twists and curls and little beads here and there, and you can choose your own look, but building that same top frame. Wrap that twist around the mandrel and check it for size. I take those tails and swirl them around to the opposite side. I think it makes a nice top frame for this ring. I'm going to take one of those wires and use it as my anchor wire. That goes across to the other side. It ties everything together, and from there I bring the little tail up, thread a bead onto it, and then underneath and curl it up. But what you are doing is building a structure, and the structure has to be strong, it has to hold together, and then all the little embellishments are just added on top. And this is very similar to embroidery, where all the pretty stitching is on top and the finishing off and the tight knots are underneath, so that there's always strength. Once you've threaded that little bead on, taken the wire around and curled it into secure position, then turn the ring around to the opposite side. Now I take one of the other tail wires and line it up so it's going to lie across that focal circle. You can see it's a lovely empty space where we can put any stone of our choice. I've taken two Amazonite beads and a very pretty little silver Oriental style bead. I think it looks nice. Fit that across once you've threaded your beads on. Make sure they fit that focal area. Over the wire goes, fits into the loop, and underneath to be secured. You can curl it, you can twist it around. This is up to you. I have made so many of these rings for markets and shops, and I find there's so many variations that you can do. Different color beads, stones, metal beads, wraps, anything. So use your imagination here. The whole idea with these sort of rings is that the tails come around the focal and they strengthen the ring, but they add so much interest and texture to the top of that ring that actually no two are ever the same. And it's such fun to play around and get the look that you want. I hope that from this tutorial you play around with all sorts of ideas of your own and come up with some lovely ideas. Here I take those last two tails, twist them, and bend them in a nice, pretty curve around the side of that focal, kind of balancing the other side where that little Amazonite bead is. You always want your ring to look balanced. The side feature of those last two tails could also have been a woven pattern along them, taking thin wire and doing a pretty little weave, and then winding that around that focal point as well. Anything is possible. Try out a few ideas also. Don't bend your wire too much, but you can try out a few ideas before you settle on one. Always make sure that you're finishing off properly so that all those little curls where they are, once they have been set, then you'd curl them under, secure them, um, take all the little ends underneath the ring and curl them and settle them into place so that they are never going to be scratching the person who wears it or snagging on clothing, and also that the ring is soft and comfortable to wear. You don't want it to be an uncomfortable ring. Has to be pretty functional, and this is a good way to do it. Always finish off those little tails. You may be wondering where the wire comes from. This aluminium I order from China. As we all know, it arrives and it's usually what you want. And the stones I do get from a wholesaler here in South Africa. We have lovely stones. We usually do a trip down to Cape Town, South Africa, and because we live about 4 hours drive up the coast from there, we do one trip and then go and choose stones, which is a lot of fun and a nice trip anyway. So here we are. Your ring is complete or almost. Just needs a little tap around on the mandrel to make sure it's all in place, and that helps to secure it and strengthen it up. I hope you make many rings from this tutorial, and it's a lot of fun. Do let me know in the comments what you have made. I'm always interested to hear what other people make. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've really enjoyed this and learned a little bit more towards making beautiful wire jewelry. Bye bye.